Welcome to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Jones. I am a certified personal trainer, and I'm here to help you achieve your fitness goals without pain. In each episode, I'll share tips and strategies that will help you stay safe and pain-free while you're working out. I'll also interview experts in the field of fitness and pain management. So if you're ready to learn how to stay active and pain-free, then subscribe to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast today. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Jones, and today I am joined by mental performance coach Ignacio Segovia. Ignacio is a passionate advocate for unlocking human potential with a distinguished background as a psychologist, coach, human factors expert, motivational speaker, and author. As a mental performance coach, he has helped countless athletes and professionals break through mental barriers, build unshakable confidence, and develop the resilience needed to excel under pressure. His inspiring keynotes and engaging workshops are packed with practical tools and actionable insights on mental training, focus, and emotional mastery. He's known for his authentic and dynamic style. Ignacio motivates audiences to redefine their limits and embrace a champion's mindset. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Thank you very much, Dana, for the invitation. I'm humbled to be here with you, responding your questions, so the people that is see and listen to this information can use it. Because the most important part of the message is that you need to act. You need to use this information. You can pass hours and hours in Facebook, YouTube, in any part of internet, hearing knowledge. But if you don't apply it,
it's not going to work.
There is no impact in your life.
So who are you? How did you get to this? Because I know you were working with ergonomics and you're a psychologist. You have a long list on your resume.
The short story, okay? I am a mental performance coach for athletes and business champions. And people ask me, what is that? How you got there? Because it's not something very common. When I was young, I did computer engineer, system engineer. And after that, I did psychology. Because I got bored of being in a computer all day long. And I thought, well, I can reprogram people's minds. Okay? And in computers, you use the tree of decisions, basically how all computers think. Zeros and ones, yes and no, and you take decisions in life. And I think that's the way that we define our life in our decisions. Yes and no, yes and no, yes and no. And people sometimes ask, well, how I got here? Well, look back, okay? Look back and you will see. You will see that you had all these decisions that took you to this position in your life. Physically, mentally, or socially. And we'll talk about those three sections because they are very important. After I studied psychology, I did a master's degree in ergonomics. That is the science of human performance. The majority of people think of ergonomics just for the design of stuff. Okay, ergonomics, yes, that's one section of the science of performance, the biomechanics, the design for our body. But also ergonomics study your mind and also study how you relate it to other people and everything that is related to the system, everything that is related to company and a system. So how humans interact in a system and how they perform the best they can perform their activities. I did work in many corporations, ConocoPhillips Petroleum, Frito-Lay, Pepsi Cola, Cargill Meat Solution, and I didn't like it. Like the corporate world is tough, politics and lies and things. So I decided to go back to one-on-one work with people. And I did psychotherapy under Dr. Dan Dalton's supervision in Canada. And I moved here to South Florida almost 10 years ago. And I decided to work just with athletes as a mental performance coach because I refine a technique that is based in hypnosis. Okay, we don't call it hypnosis. You will see it that people call it guided meditation, visualization, because some people is scared about the word hypnosis. When you hear the word hypnosis, you imagine this guy manipulating you. Okay, and it's not that. It's basically psychology, because psychology is the talk therapy. When you go to a professional in psychology, it's a talk therapy. And hypnosis is a talk therapy, but in deep trance. And today we will talk about that. We will talk about all these tools mixed together, all these tools dedicated for human performance to help people move to the positive side. Because if you go to the new studies in positive psychology since the year 2000, positive psychology have grown and grown. Martin Seligman started. He was the president of the American Psychology Association on those years. Nowadays, after 25 years of development, we have a solid profession that is called positive psychology. This theory explained that you have a continuous from -5 to +5. Okay, being -5, -4, psychological pathologies, or clinical depression, deep situations that you need to work with a professional, a psychiatric that will give you medication, or a psychologist, clinical psychologist, and you need to go into an institution. The things that people they don't realize is that when you are in a -5, -4, it's very, 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 I need to insist, very difficult to get out. Okay?
Okay.
And that's a situation that people do not understand. If you ask any psychiatric hospital how many patients they cure, they will tell you 0, 1, 2. There are not many cases that come out that in that section of the sickness. So now we are working with people in the -3, -2 for prevention. So we want to prevent. We don't want to wait until the case is terrible. We want to help you to move from the -3, -2, -1 to the positive side, to the flourishing, to grow, to happiness. Because in the Constitution of the United States, you will find that you have the right of happiness to pursue that. Okay? So
This is true.
how you achieve that? You achieve that in the positive side, growing all the time. So as a coach, I do that. I move people from the point A to the point B, and usually I do an evaluation, and if that person, that's where my background in psychology helped me a lot. When I recognize that person is a -3, -4, -5, I refer them to a
Okay.
clinician. When I see that the person is a -3, -2, -1, okay, we can work together. I receive a lot of calls from bipolar people, especially in their maniac situation. Hey, Ignacio, you do hypnosis? Yeah, I do hypnosis. You can help me. You are the solution of my problems. Okay. What is your problem? Well, I'm medicated. Why you're medicated? Well, I'm depressed, and sometimes, well, I think it's maniac depression. I'm working with a doctor. I want to get out of the medication. Like, sorry, but I cannot help you. Okay, that's something that you need to work with a clinician in a center. Is very delicate. But for the section where people is healthy, you can play with psychology, with physical tools to reach the next level. And that's what I do with athletes, with business people, teaching simple techniques that are super, super easy to do. So easy that people tell me, like, seriously? If I do that, I will, yeah. Just pass an object from one side to another. You will stimulate your brain. You will stimulate relaxation, breathe in the meantime, do that for 5 minutes. But people do not believe on that, on the simplicity of drinking water, sleep the proper hours, eat at the proper times. Okay? Basic things that we should be teaching at school, at home. Kids now, they don't know. I receive clients that, I'm depressed. Okay, let's check basic. Do you drink water? No. Do you eat at times? No. Well, you don't eat because I'm playing video games. At what time do you go to bed? 4 a.m.
And then they get up to go to school at 8:30 or 9.
Okay? And that create physical pain. And you can, for sure, you have to listen many stories about that. About, okay, I'm not doing the basics. Now I'm suffering.
Okay.
And I'm using
Well, I'm a high school teacher, so
I'm
I
not using
deal
my
with that.
mental, my physical body. Now I'm suffering. That's the introduction, the short introduction.
So you work with a bunch of different athletes. What's your youngest athlete?
Well, I had an 8 years old, okay? But
Okay.
when I work with kids under 12, I tell the parents, look, I will work with you. I will take your project, but you need to work with me, okay?
Mhm.
Because they are difficult in their attention process, okay? Sometimes they cannot handle being in my office for half an hour, 45 minutes. So we need to cut the sessions to 10, 20 minutes video calls. So I see them 2 or 3 times a week. I don't do the typical 45-minute session with them. So I cut the video sessions in 10, 15 minutes that we do quickly Monday and Wednesdays and Fridays, and we see each other when they need some guided meditation and they come to my office to do that.
So is that something that's become more common because parents have watched Tiger Woods and Serena Williams and their parents be a little bit more, shall we say, aggressive in terms of dealing with being an
Many of
athlete
the
in the sport?
successful athletes are talking about that. In the
Hmm.
last 5 to 10 years, we have um, the mental science have been in an evolution. So people is seeing the mental work more as something that is normal, like going to the dentist and cleaning your. In the past was, you have this taboo of, okay, if you talk about mental health, you are sick, you have a problem. We have athletes like Michael Phelps talking about, okay, my mom learned progressive muscle relaxation when I was young. She told me, and it's basically an induction for hypnosis. And you have Tiger Woods talking about hypnosis. You have many tennis players talking about hypnosis nowadays. You have many successful athletes that in the past used these techniques. Never, they were ashamed of telling people, I'm doing this. But nowadays it's super common. And you can find guided meditations, okay? And that's basically the process that I do. I design guided meditations for my athletes, customized to their visualizations, to the sport, to their needs, to take away their fears and help them to visualize what they want to do during the game.
What makes it so hard for us to deal with performance however it may be? Why are we so, I don't know if it's hard on ourselves or if we just put too much pressure on ourselves, like why is it so difficult for us to perform?
Well, depending of the area of performance, okay? Many of the situations come from our deep roots of defending ourselves. Okay, we from thousands of years we needed to be aware of our surrounding. Okay, you look that corner and you know that a tiger is behind that tree. Okay, you need to be aware. So every time you see that type of tree, you suppose, okay, maybe a tiger is behind the tree. Okay, and we associate our capacity of learning through punishment is humongous. Okay, it's embedded in our bodies, embedded in our minds, it's embedded on our reptilian brain, that is the cerebellum, and the fast reactions. Okay, that's embedded there. And we have this tendency of learn through pain or reward. That's the traditional way. Nowadays we are learning in different ways. With technology and with different things we can stimulate our visual, auditory, all the senses, and we can transform that perception, because it's a cognitive perception that we have that is damaged, and we need to fix that. Okay, to give you an example, one day my son Samuel, he plays soccer, and he arrived to the game, and he said, "Dad, we are losing today." I said, "Why, Samuel? Why are you losing today?" "We're playing against Brazil. They're great." I say, "Sammy, that's not Brazil. That kid live across the street. They're not from Brazil. This is just a uniform." Okay. So we have cognitive perceptions that are embedded in some way based on previous experience or experience of other people that influence the way that we perceive the world. But now, with all this situation with videos, audio, we are realizing that we are being affected by that. So we are taking a pause and wait, hey, give me a second. That news is not true. This is not true. Okay, let me take a second and redefine my perception of the world. Let me redefine my personal tools. Let me see how my personal tools can affect the way that I live. So I think in the next couple of years we are, not to sound wishy-washy, or I'm not I'm a scientist, so I like facts, but I think we are entering in a time in the human development that we are more aware of how different things are affecting us and how we can block things that are not good for us, how we can filter those stimulations, control our attention, and use our attention for our benefit.
Yeah, it's interesting because you spoke about tennis, and there's a bunch of athletes, Naomi Osaka, just who were taking mental breaks. Simone Biles did the same thing. Michael Phelps had definitely had some comments with reporters and people who were really giving him a hard time. And there's a demand, and of course it's social media, because we get to know these people, and then I guess we decide I can demand higher performance from you, and not really realizing the tremendous amount of pressure that we're putting on these athletes. And in the same situation with our babies, these kids are getting tapped out, or at least when I was coaching, by 16, they're done. They're toast because they started playing way too soon, didn't really know how to play for fun. It became about
That's
winning.
very important.
And it put a tremendous amount of pressure on them. So by the time they got to what I consider a competitive age, that 14 to 16-year-old is when you kind of make a decision about, oh, I'm going to do this for real. Then they're all, no, I've done this for 10 years already. I'm over it. And they didn't want to do it anymore. But then now we're dealing with stuff with college athletes. And of course, because this is being recorded as we just finished the NBA draft, and you have somebody like Ace Bailey, who essentially throws a temper tantrum because I guess the joke is that he decided that he was playing NBA 2K and he gets to choose his team, and that his team doesn't choose him. And I think the pressure, though, is not there. I don't know if they're confused about pressure or what's happening, but there's a certain faction that's coming up that's a little more arrogant and really believe that their skills are above what we're seeing with the current performance level, whether it's the NBA, whether it's the PGA, whatever it may be. A lot of these athletes are thinking that they're better than they are. And then the reality is, if I'm an athlete, especially in the PGA, I'm, you got to be top 150. And if you're not top 150, then you're not playing. And golf is expensive, and going to all these tournaments all over the world is expensive if you don't have it together between your ears.
In the last minute, you mentioned many factors. Because I like this. Okay, so let's organize the idea. The first idea that I remember is you need to be careful because athletes need to have fun. They need to enjoy it. Okay, they play because this is a passion. They love this, and that's the most pressure thing, because when you are old, I'm 46, when you see life, remembering and checking all the things that you experience in life, you remember the things that you love, you remember the things that really fulfilled you. And there is a point in life where you understand that there is not enough money in the world to buy the pleasure of enjoying your game, enjoying whatever you like, your family, your friends, whatever. But really feel that passion, that love. Okay, so it's the first thing that I will try to protect from the things that you mentioned is that they need to be protected of that change. And during the professional life of an athlete, you will have many changes because you have different leagues. Okay, and different leagues will bring different problems. And you mentioned the problems of almost the top league, but before reaching there, you have many different layers of situations. And one of the things that I believe is the main problem on each of the layers is that as a coach or as a parent or as a person that is leading the growth of this athlete, we don't explain them that yes, the goal is to be on the top 10 of the PA. Okay, great. But if you're not there, okay, you can have a full profession. You can be a coach in the future. You can manage any kind of business related to golf, training programs, educational programs. For sure, you will receive a lot of offers from universities because nowadays you can find a lot of scholarship if you're a golfer, especially if you're a woman. They're seeking for women like crazy to give them scholarships in golf. We don't explain that this. You don't need to be in the NBA. You don't need to be. No, 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 no. There are different levels where you can enjoy your game and reach different potential. There are many branches of this. You don't need to be Messi. You don't need to be. There are different branches on your story as an athlete, and sometimes we forget that. We don't picture the options. The other thing that you mentioned is that sometimes the athletes lose their connection with reality. And nowadays, many of these super athletes, they have a mental performance coach in their team. A couple of weeks ago, I hear a story of the new champion in chess. Is a kid, is a very young kid, and he have 8 coaches. The 8 coaches, one of them is a mental performance coach.
Okay.
So you need to have a person, even though your sport is wrestling, fighting, it's a body stuff. Okay, you need to have a person there with you on this path because this environment is tough, it's hard, and you mentioned all this pressure of people around. So it is important to have a person that you can talk, that you can be open, that you can cry, that you can ask for help. That it is very important that you have a person there on your side. And that's one of my roles. My roles is be there. Okay, tell me how you're feeling, how you feel before the competition, how you feel after the competition, how you feel during the so it's very important that we understand that mental health is part of the athletic profession and they need to give a space. In the past, if you try to explain to a coach 20, 30 years ago, mental performance is important, it was grow up.
Right.
I will not say the bad words that they will say to you in the past, but they will say, okay, be a man.
Yeah. Suck it up.
Suck it up.
I've heard that plenty of times. So you have a methodology that you use with your athletes and you call it the success triangle.
That's the people on that area. They come from Stoics values. Okay. And the Stoic values are bravery, discipline, etc. That's the reason for the Hamlet. But the triangle represents 3 areas: the mental performance, the physical performance, and the technical performance. So the Spartans, that they are the fighters, they develop that mental performance, physical performance, and technical performance. Technical performance is how you fight, how socially is accepted that you play golf, that you play soccer, that you play baseball. Mental performance is how you use your tools, especially how you talk to yourself, because there are voices inside us. The physical performance, how you eat, how you train, etc., etc. And the main thing that I work with is the mental. Even though you grow one, it will affect the others. And in mental performance, I work with an acronym that I call RAM: resilience, attention, and magnetic attitude. Why? Because those are the 3 areas that the majority of the athletes bring to session. They have issues handling pressure, they have issues with their attention, and they have issues with their own attitude when they play. And all the different other issues are connected to these 3.
So
I
what does
have
it
an
mean to
assessment.
be resilient?
Resilience is to bounce back from difficulties, okay? You can or resist to the difficulty, or if the difficulty take you down, bounce back. So those are the 2 basic characteristics of a resilient action: bounce back from the difficulty or just resist. So as an athlete, actually, you fail 70% of the time. You fail passes, you fail shots, you fail. If you're a baseball player, if you have an average of 300, 400, you're amazing. What that means? That means that you miss, that you miss 60% of the time, that you miss 70% of the time, So athletes, they fail a lot. So they need to resist that, or if they go down, it was a bad practice, it was a bad game, they can come back very fast. That's resilience. So when my athletes come, I train them on how to do this, how to do this in their unconscious mind, and also practicing very easy tools that they can help.
Is that where you use hypnosis?
I use hypnosis everywhere, okay? Hypnosis can help you to reprogram the unconscious mind very easily, especially when the same athlete is an amazing hypnotist, okay? because the majority of the athletes are great doing self-hypnosis, but they're doing it in the wrong direction. They're
Right.
telling themselves, I will fail. I don't want to do this. I don't want to miss the shot. I don't want to, okay?
Please don't have the ball hit to me.
They are amazing doing hypnosis. So hypnosis is very good, for example, to give you an example, on phobias. Why? People that have phobias, they are great doing self-hypnosis. That plane will fail. This animal will kill me. You tell yourself stories. And what I do with my athletes, okay, you're telling yourself a story. Let's build good stories. And I help them to create these new stories. I tell them that, yeah, in the cartoons, you have the devil and you have the angel. Yeah? So visualize the devil as a bad coach, and we need to fire this coach.
Mhm.
Now you're fired. Put this coach a name: Carlos, Maria, whatever. Okay, fire Maria. Hey Maria, you're fired. Fire that coach. Now you're hiring this coach. Okay, what type of words or what type of image? Because we communicate with our unconscious mind in these two ways: with words or images. When I explain people, okay, visualize. Let's do a visualization exercise, because people tell me, Ignacio, I'm not good doing visualization. Why you're not good? Because I don't see anything. There are some people that they are designers, that they're amazing imagining details, but some people they are not. Doesn't matter. If your brain tell you the words, you can see it. But if you don't see it, your brain will tell you words. Let's do this exercise, Dana. Take a deep breath in, close your eyes, and respond this question. What is the color of your door?
My door?
The door of your house. Imagine the door in front of your house, the door that you use every day. What is the color?
White.
White. Have the handle in the right or in the left?
Left.
It is a ball, or is a how is designed the handle?
It's the ball.
Describe it.
Not really round, but kind of whatever, round with flat on top.
Okay. That door open pushing or pulling?
Push.
Okay, excellent. Open your eyes. You're present.
I don't live in Florida, so it's not a pull.
That's visualization. Visualization is that when you close your eyes and you try to imagine something, you see it, or there is a little voice telling you, it's white, the right, the left, okay? So you can see the details, or you just listen. Now, when you go in trance, when you go into hypnosis is an state where you have 100% attention on what you're thinking or in the voice of the person that is guiding you. That's it. It's nothing magical. It's nothing, okay? There is a procedure, but I help you to pay all this attention to those voices that are describing your door. So you can see it more vividly, and you can experience the colors, the sounds, flavors, smells. And we do that with games. Okay, you are an athlete. Imagine your game. If you ask Michael Phelps, he imagined his swimming position, each kick, each on detail, just all night long. 1, 2. Mm-hmm. And there are studies that prove that people just visualizing their game improve their game. Not only improve their game, they gain muscle capacity. Just imagine the game.
Well, and you also have the ability to feel all the emotions of the time. So your heart rate will go up and all the other stuff that is associated with that performance.
And you will be ready for anything that you need to respond. Now your unconscious mind is informed. I always train my athletes in 3 basic drills. And we repeat those drills again and again and again and again in their mind. So when they go to the game, it's easy for them. Pass here, pass there, shoot here, shoot there. Why? Because the unconscious mind, and we can do a ton of exercise. I have one presentation that I do in schools and college. It's called the Power of the Mind. It's a 4-5 minutes presentation. If anybody is listening, they can request this presentation. And I explain there how the unconscious mind affect little movements. And we do exercise. We do the pendulum exercise. We do different movements, hand up, hand down, that they just change these positions with the influence of my words, okay? And it's not because I have magic powers. It's just because the repetition of these words will create slight movements in the arms or their legs. So I will ask you this. What happens if you play golf and you hit the ball with a club in this position or in this position?
Are you talking about for me or for anybody else?
It will be a major change on the ball. If you hit the major change in the ball. What happens if you are a basketball player and you change this hand from this to here, from here to here? What happens with a ball?
Change. Yeah.
What happens if you are a soccer player and you hit it with here or you hit it with here? There is a major change on that position. So, baseball player, what happens if you hit the ball one fraction down, one fraction up? The change is humongous.
Yes.
And during this presentation, I proved the athletes how just words can do a slight change. I love motorcycles. I have a motorcycle, and when I did my training on how to learn how to drive the motorcycle, the trainer told me, hey, if you look a beautiful girl walking on the street, don't look at her, because where you put your face, the motorcycle will fall.
Yeah. Motorcycling is probably the most interesting example of attention than anything else, because I remember an instructor telling me, when you turn left, you don't stick your head out the window and look left. He saw you use your mirror, you keep your focus forward, and then you turn in the opposite direction, right? Which a lot of people don't get. The opposite direction, which you're turning on, is how to steer a motorcycle. And it's very unusual. So what is, to get to the last part, what is a magnetic attitude?
Well, it's your personal attitude. It's how you show up to the game, how you show up to the practice, and how you interact with other people, with your coach, with your team members. And they have a very big impact in how you perform. Because if you have the attitude of, I will lose, this is terrible, I don't like it, okay? But also have a humongous impact in a teamwork. Right? That from the three factors, this is the most important factor for a team player.
For sure.
One that play golf or that play tennis or that is a swimmer. It's more important the attention and the resilience. Is that section is for individual sport. For team sports, for soccer, volleyball, for team players, the attitude is on top. Actually, if you ask any coach that isn't giving a scholarship or recruiting for university teams, big teams, soccer teams, American football, lacrosse, they will tell you the most important thing that I look is for the attitude. Mm-hmm. If the athletes do not have good attitude, I don't recruit them. That's the number one thing scouts are looking nowadays. The athlete's attitude, especially if the athlete will participate in a big team. And basically it's how you see yourself inside the game and how you communicate to others. How you say, I help you. Like on my time, that was basic education, okay? Nowadays, it's something that we need to go and teach people how to say hello, yes. How to ask good morning, how you doing today, how was your week, how was your weekend, you did something important. That's attitude. And I train my athletes in how to talk, how to walk, how to say to the coach, hello, coach, yes, sir. Like coaches are looking for that. If they are well dressed, if they have their shoes clean, they don't need to be a new shoes, okay? But the coach will pay attention if you take care of your equipment, if you clean your equipment, and all those details are inside the attitude of an athlete. There are simple techniques to change it. I have a simple technique. I have a booklet that I have for free in coachignacio.com. If you want to download it, you can go to coachignacio.com, and I have many frees there for people. It's called the 7 techniques, and this ebook, one of the tools there is the power pose, and it's very simple. It's just
the Superman pose.
The Superman pose. Look up, and a simple body posture will influence in your attitude. It will influence in how a coach see you. If you walk like this to an interview, or you walk like this to an interview, you will project, we call it the attitude of a champion. Behave like a champion. Behave. See the people that you want to be. See these successful athletes, how they walk, how they talk, how they copy them. Copy success. In this section is the fake it until you make it, especially
Yes.
for athletes. Especially for athletes, because if you repeat the pattern, athletes have a very structured pattern. If you repeat the pattern of the star, you will be a star. You don't need to do much. Okay, just copy the pattern. They train all the time, train all the time. They arrive 1 hour early to the games, arrive 1 hour early to the games. They leave the 1 hour late the game, you do the same. So just copy. And the power pose is something that is easy. If you want to be happy, smile all the time, laugh, and you will feel in your body. So I train athletes and business people also in using these techniques, because people in business, they need it too. I have many clients they are programmers, and they don't know how to act in public. They don't know how to go and do business. Now you have these programmers that are doing software and doing amazing things, but they don't know how to sell it. They don't know how to present it. So they come to me and ask me, "Hey, can you help me with this attitude of a champion?" Yeah, let's work on it.
That's great. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. And just to go over again, where can we find you?
Again, coachignacio.com is a page that I have a link tree where you can see the last activities that I'm doing or download any freebies there. I'm in Instagram. I have my website, ignaciosegovia.com, for conference, for if you are a university or a college that want to hire me to do workshops in your college, you can check all my presentations there. And of course, Mental Performance 365, that is the website, my company website.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for the invitation. I really enjoy it.